Hey Kipsters, welcome to Purple Group Help. Now I'm really excited that you came to the blog. It means that you are taking charge of your own learning and you're trying to figure out how to answer the questions, maybe without asking Mr. Daniel or Mrs. Kapnick. This is what college students do. So I hope that number one was pretty simple. You just had to divide 119 pencils into 15 groups, and then the remainder is what he gave to his teacher. Let's look at number two, though. It says, suppose Lewis, that guy that we learned about in question one, decides to take an equal share along with his classmates. So instead of sharing with just 15 people, he is splitting the pencils into 16 groups, right? Not just 15 classmates plus Lewis is 16. Will his teacher get more or fewer pencils? So I could think about this without doing the division problem and just explain my answer. I could think to myself, okay, if I started with 119 pencils and I split them, at first I only split them to share with 15 pencils or 15 people. So let's pretend that's 15 groups. So that's one student, two students, three students, and then I shared it with 15. Anything that was left over was going to my teacher. But now those leftovers have to be given to part of those leftovers, have to be made into another equal group and given to a teammate, Lewis. So I could say, well, Mrs. Kapnick, you're sharing with more people, so the teacher is going to get less pencils. I could, however, prove it, which I really love to prove my work. So I'm going to set up a division problem. Before, let's see here, where's that pen? Before I divided 119 divided into 15 groups, right? And let's see what we got. Let's roll our tens and just see. We get 10, 20... 30, 40. I'm going to think to myself, let's see, that 15 goes into 119 maybe 9 times. Let's see, 15 times 9, that gets me 45. That's 13. Okay, that's too big. So let's try 15 times 8. That's 120. That's still too big. So it must be 15 times 7. Okay, so 7, 105. So before, the teacher was getting these leftover pencils, the remaining 14 pencils, and then each teammate was getting 7 pencils. But now, instead of sharing it with 15 classmates, I'm sharing it with 16. So I have to divide 119 divided by 16. I'm still gonna think, okay, I have my X, and my seat. So I have a 1-digit quotient. If 15 times 7 is 105, maybe I'll try 16 times 7 and see if it fits in. Let's see, that's 42. Okay, it still fits in. So each teammate is still getting 7 pencils. Let's see here. But instead of 14 pencils left over, there are only 7 pencils left over. So there's definitely going to be fewer pencils left for the teacher. But it's actually kind of fair because each teammate gets 7 pencils and so does the teacher. Let's look at number 3. If you were having trouble with number 3, you can go ahead and work with me. It says generate and solve one division problem with the same quotient and remainder as the one shown below. So my quotient, I'm just going to make some notes to myself. My quotient was 8, and so that's right there. Here's my remainder. My remainder was 11. So we know that when we check our work, right, we need to multiply. I need to figure out a divisor times my quotient. So let's see here. Basically, it's going to look like this. It's going to be something times 8. And then I have to add that answer plus 11, right? I really could pick anything. So let me give us some more room here. I'm going to make the divisor. I'll make the divisor 13. So 13 times 8. So that gives me 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 1 is 8, so plus 9. So remember, this isn't my whole. So I've just created my divisor as 13, all right? But now to find my whole, I need to add my remainder, so it becomes 104 plus 11 is 5, is 1. So my whole is 115. Now, you could really come up with anything you want, but you do need to make sure that your remainder is smaller than your divisor. So I could not have picked a divisor of 10 or 9 or 8. It would have to be bigger than 11. Let's see what you can come up with. Have a wonderful day, Kipster.